So I want to take you out a little bit before I start. How many of you do yoga or have done yoga? Oh, so we all know what yoga is, right? How many of you practice it as a, as a spiritual practice? How many of you meditate on yoga? I am Inge Spencer and Germany. It's not Inge. We have another Inge. No, Helga. So I'm Helga. Helga's my sister. Anyway, I married Leon, stationed in Germany in '67, and we're here. Washington, D.C. But anyway, I was introduced to yoga in Dayton, Ohio, at a retreat, and studied pretty much on my own. And then got my teacher training through the IAM method. 2000 or something like that. And I've taught yoga and studied and practiced on and off for years. I give my talk. Namaste, you've heard that word, right? Everybody knows it's the highest within, namaste, the highest within you. So you know that with yoga means union between your individual soul and the universal soul. Without self development there. And the union is we practice the linking. And it can be done through many different ways that the Indian sages have kind of figured out. I, like most practitioners of yoga, have come to yoga for its physical practice, the asanas, and physical well-being. It was at a UU retreat in 1971 where I saw some people out there all by themselves making these strange body postures. And then when I asked them what they were doing, they told me they were doing yoga. And they also told me that yoga can help to prevent ulcers. Why they came up with that one, I don't know, but my family is also broke. And so I said, that's a good thing to do. And I bought some books. No, I bought one book. I bought Hillman's 28-day plan for yoga. Anybody know it? No? Okay, that was in the early 70s. But I looked for other books, but there weren't many others. There was one, Yoga for Americans, that was written by a woman who went to India and studied with the masters there. But most other books were kind of philosophical. That was a little bit beyond me. So I practiced the poses and some breathing techniques and started to feel more peaceful. I did not have regular teacher who could have warned me about the pitfalls yoga breathing can present. It really does. Yogic breathing and meditation had opened the door to my spirit, but I was not prepared to be accountable for my actions in daily life. I was realizing I just moved to this country and was confronted with all kinds of difficulties. The early 70s was a time when America and the Western world woke up to the movements of feel-good, women's lib, flower power, drugs, and sexual freedom. It was also a time for me to be confronted with racism and hostility in this country toward interracial marriage, My husband, he's from Savannah and he's an American. I also have been confronted with quite a number of personal changes within the previous 5 years. I already mentioned that I married Leon and then immigrated 6 months after to this country. We had about several military moves. Leon was in the Air Force, I met him. And we lived in 3 different US states, Florida, Albuquerque, and Washington, D.C., and also in Turkey. We bought a home, we had several job changes, and the birth of our 3 children. All this within a span of these 5 years. I looked at that list and said, what are the strengths in your life? You could figure out the points, whatever you did in your life. And I had stresses, yes. And yoga also attracted me to yoga people. And I created 2 worlds. The feel-good world of Yu and yoga, and the world of family demands and job requirements. And in 1976, I suffered a nervous breakdown. I call it now the dark night of my soul, which resulted then that the military gave my husband a compassionate move to Germany, so I could be among more familiar environments. Yoga had opened me to my spiritual self, but without the guidance of a teacher, I was not able to process my experiences and grow from them. Instead, I thought out the quick fixes and good spiritual foods. A lot of chanting, human spirit, paganism, channeling. Then I learned Reiki. I also dabbled in dances of universal peace. Some of these, the practices I was introduced to by the youth, and other practices I learned in the alternative or New Age community of Colombia. I don't know how you've been affected in these early years, open to these in the 70s, this influx, the Beatles and meditation, transcendental meditation. I had also pursued at that time yoga teacher training in the Iyengar tradition. This tradition introduced me to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I need to say something a little bit about Iyengar yoga. Iyengar said, do the poses. They cannot lie to you. But if you can't reach your toes, that's what you know. If you study things or chant or something, you may not know what the outcome of it is. So he insisted we did poses, and recognize the truth of ourselves in those, at least the truth of the body of ourselves. This tradition introduced me to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, a philosophy of yoga. Who knows about you, Patanjali? Yoga? Patanjali? Yeah. I got a little statue of him over there. You can look at him. What I needed during my early days of yoga was a teacher and a practical guide to the sutras, a kind of systematic approach to those teachings, which would have held my feet to the fire of spiritual growth. Maybe in this lifetime, I needed to have challenging experiences to discover that my spiritual practice serves to grow beyond the impermanent physical and material existence toward a permanent spiritual existence, at least understanding it. I end every of my yoga classes that I teach with the greeting Namaste, as I did with the child here, with the vague awareness that is a greeting from my internal self to the other's internal self. And in reality, according to yoga, being one. As an aside, what really helped me to recognize my spiritual self, because the teaching insisted on it, was the Course in Miracles. Because the Course in Miracles just flat out this existence, it's Maya, it doesn't exist. We exist as spiritual beings. And I owe to Sherry Bar to have helped me back into that teaching and back into studying that, which we did for a while in online with with Zoom because of the epidemic. Being asked to give this talk here made me look on how I apply the spiritual practice of yoga to my life. Really. Not just doing poses, yogic breathing, meditation, and chanting, but also relating lovingly and with accountability in my daily life and avoiding the pitfalls which are inherent in any feel-good practice that does not include confronting the obstacles life tends to bring up because of the karma that we build up in our lifetime or in our past lives. Looking to the various books I have on spirituality and yoga spirituality, I decided to give the Yoga Sutras potentially a try. So I dug up all my books and realized, whoa, I have a lot of books. I'm living up to it. Patanjali Sutras consist of 196 aphorisms, a system which realizes that we are spirit caught in the predicament of matter or a living body on this earth. Patanjali lived around 200 BC in India, where our spiritual reality was acknowledged and still is in modern India. The yogis of India thought through meditation have realized the nature of the universe and our place in it. They realize that we are spiritual beings temporarily living in a human existence, living a human existence in a physical body. They realize that the needs of our physical body can lead us away from the purity of our spirit, creating suffering in our life. They developed philosophies, rituals, activities, chants, breath techniques, and meditation to overcome the afflictions that cloud our consciousness. In the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali actually names these afflictions, which is just wrong knowledge of them in some of the delusion. Patanjali, in his aphorisms, spelled out these afflictions and created a systematic approach to conquer these afflictions. Part of the aphorisms are the 8 steps to yoga, which lead to samadhi or union with the divine. And here I will talk about a little bit about the 8 steps. The step 1 and 2 consists of something like 10 commandments: non-stealing, non-covetousness, truth speaking, not lying, contentment, hostility. Let me go on. Only the third step of yoga consists of our here. So the first principle consists of 5 universal commandments, which control our interactions with the outer world. As I mentioned, non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, not abusing sexual energies, and non-covetousness or greediness. The second step, the steps to self-purification. These relate to our inner world and sense of perception and help us to develop self-discipline. These points are cleanliness or purity, contentment, religious fervor, study of sacred scriptures, and also study oneself, know thyself, and surrender the actions that we perform to God and humanity. The third step is yoga poses. Nowadays, yoga is done in all kinds of things, in gyms, senior centers, football training. You can see poses in commercials, give their benefits in health magazines. Everybody knows what the pose down dog looks like. The original intent of poses was to sit steady and comfortably in lotus or other poses in meditation. Other poses have been added much later for the health benefits. Some of the poses actually have been copied from the exercises that British soldiers have practiced while in India. The yogi Krishnamacharya has observed the poses and incorporated some of them into practice called now Ashtanga yoga. It's now also called powerful yoga. Mr. Iyengar, a teacher, a student of Krishnamacharya, has explored these poses and added others in a very thorough and discriminative way, and has discovered that not only do they keep the body healthy or heal many illnesses, they also allow the mind to go into a state of concentration, which is the preliminary step to meditation. Step 4 of Patanjali's 8th step into yoga is pranayama, the breathing techniques. Pranayama means control of life force. It has a profound effect on our nervous system and is considered to be a bridge to our spirit. Having observed the 10 commandments of yoga, step 1 and 2, having removed the obstacle of illness of the body to asana, being able to sit down for a long time to meditate, having prepared the nervous system to pranayama, our body is now fit for withdrawal of the senses, which awareness is drawn from outer world to inner self. With your eyes not paying attention to what's going on when not there, so you're inward oriented. Now, body and mind are ready for concentration, the 6th step to yoga. Uninterrupted concentration on an object, the breath, mantra, or sound leads to meditation, which is step 7. Step 8 is samadhi, the union with the higher self is a result of all the previous steps. So rather than just go meditate, sit and meditate, we make sure we live a life that is recognized security within, a life of interacting with others, the world, dignity, respecting, and then the breathing, and then concentration, going inward, and then concentration, and then meditation. So all these 6 steps are before help to for meditation. Step 8 is samadhi, union with the higher self, and is the result of all these previous steps. Samadhi is a state that Jesus called I and the Father are one. From this state, one tends to emerge more loving, more caring, more in harmony with all life. How long such a state lasts depends on the level of personal growth someone has achieved. Some persons have come into this world fully self-realized, just as Jesus did. Others happen on such a state through something like near-death experiences. Others are drawn to it or discover it like I did through my yoga process, breathing techniques, and meditation. So I wanted us to go, we have a little time, to do a little bit of these steps. I assume that we all live a moral life. So I'd like us to just unpress the hands. And have your hands in any kind of and it's nice to have your hands on the lap, looking up and see the images. And closing your eyes. Closing your eyes. And just feel your breathing. Notice how your breath touches your nostrils. Feel air coming in, warm air coming out. Visualize the air flowing inside of the nose. You have these two channels. And you may feel the air brushing against the inner walls of these two channels. Just feel that. Visualize it. And then these channels lead into the windpipe. So feel the air brushing against the inner walls of the windpipe. You may maybe close them a little bit. But you can straighten your throat a little bit. Feel the air going the back of the mouth down into the rest of the throat. Feel that. Visualize it. And there begin the bronchium. And so you can feel the air going from the base of the throat into your bronchia, into your lungs. You could put your hands right below the collarbone, where the tips of your lungs are, and imagine that you're sending light there. You could imagine the direction of light because right there, the tips of your lungs. And then just bring your hands around your rib cage and feel the ribs. And let the rib cage press out against your hand as you inhale and release as you exhale. And then put your hands on your belly. And imagine, the lungs are not there, but imagine that you're breathing into it. Allowing the belly to expand as you inhale, release as you exhale. So the lungs press down on the diaphragm moves down into your belly, pushing the organs forward. That's why it's going to do that. Now open your eyes and interlace your fingers. Inhale, take your palms forward. Exhale, draw your shoulders back. Inhale, bring your arms up. Reach out. Reach out. Reach out. Now press your left sit bone to the chair and exhale to the side. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, bend your elbows and palm of the hands above you. Pull shoulders wide. Inhale, pressing up. Reach tall. Exhale, pressing elbows into or reach out. Reach tall. Inhale, press up. Exhale, take your arms forward and down, releasing the fingers, and then we do the fingers for the other index finger on top. We almost do both sides possible. So it feels awkward, doesn't it? No. Inhale, take your palms forward. Exhale, draw your shoulders back. Inhale, come on. Reach forward. Exhale, bend elbows. Inhale, press your palms up. Reach tall. Exhale, press elbows in toward each other. Reach tall. Reach tall. Reach tall. And then press to your right. And to your right, as you want to go down. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, the other side. Inhale, come back up. Good. And exhale, bring your arms down. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to stand up. And maybe just, you have to face sideways. So what we're going to do is, we'll just take one leg forward, the yoga pose, interlacing fingers at the back, so you need to see first and then you can turn. And then we'll fold forward. And then lift the arms up. So you do it. One leg forward. Pull the shoulders back with your hands, pull the arms back. Lift your shoulders high. Go as deep as you can. Mr. Iger could get his head to his knees, not to yours. And then come up. And then we have to do the other side. Another leg forward. Shoulders back. Release the fingers. And then bend forward. Keeping your, if your right leg is forward, make sure the left hip doesn't go back. Good. And then inhale, come up. Good. That's one of the standing poses. Now we're going to. No, we can't do that. Oh, we can do a standing up. We can hook thumbs. We've done something already. Now take your left foot a little bit behind. A little bit behind you, and a little bit in the midline, and then bend to the right side, pushing the left hip out and reach as far. Inhale, come back to center, and then step forward, take the other leg back a little bit, and then inhale deeply, and then exhale, go to the other side. That way. All right. And then inhale, come back, bring your palms together and take your thumbs together. Okay, go ahead and sit. One more thing. We all sit a lot, right? Can you put your right ankle on top of your left knee? Hold the chair behind you. And bend forward, the other chair in front of you will probably the other way, but bend forward. Now you can feel something. Yeah, you should be. William could have done it. Okay, switch to the other way. And then you bend forward. And I think it's guys who don't doing anything. Come to my class. Just a little more about my talk.
I think our time is almost up.
What's that?
I think our time is almost up. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Gosh,
If you want to wrap it up, that would be fine.
I was raised Lutheran in a village in post-war Germany. I had given my life to Jesus as an initiation to a youth program. Soon after my family moved to Mainz, the capital of another state, I could not find a connection back to church. And disillusioned, I decided to be an atheist. And then when I came to this country, that's what my orientation was. But then when our small children were invited in Davie to join funds and to the vacation Bible school, Leon and I decided that UU was a good fit for us, for our young family. As I mentioned earlier, UU exposed me to yoga and other more or less disciplined spiritual practices. And as mentioned, I got up in the field, I got caught up in the feel-good experiences, but at what cost? You had exposed me to deeper thinking. The 7 principles had encouraged me to more conscious living. Sherry Barr had a couple of, offered the Course in Miracles study during the pandemic. And studying with the material truly helped me to realize my spiritual self. It made it real. It really did. Preparing for this talk, I took an inventory on how I live my yoga. You and yoga helped me to grow spiritually. Looking at my life through the lens of the Yoga Sutras, I recognize that I have fallen short on some of the steps to yoga. Yes, I can still stand on my head and put my body in the vessel, but I fall short in some of the 10 commandments of yoga. I'm not always content in my life. Sometimes it is hard for me to offer the fruits of my efforts to God. My pride gets in the way. Little things like that. We have this wonderful mind-body building. I and 3 other instructors teach 5 yoga classes a week here. Laura Milner leads the Sangha on Friday morning for Zen meditation. I would like to see the center used more for more spiritual practices. Also, with yoga being widely practiced in this area, I would like us to offer possibly a sutra study course or some study course that guides some of the people who just, they go out for goat yoga. The deeper meaning of yoga. I thank you very much for your listening and being invited to do that. Also, I do owe the ability to teach back there to this fellowship because Janice West was with me when I was looking for another place. I had yoga on Vine downtown, and I was looking for another place and just couldn't find anything. And she also goes to the meditation group, and she had the idea, why don't we have a building for yoga and meditation? And it actually is for yoga, meditation, and the fellowship for use for whatever. But I think it's a wonderful opportunity to bring in the community, because I know people, the world is waking up to these spiritual things. People dabble here and there like I do. And I would love to help some people to go deeper, see what does yoga mean? What does, it's not just doing all these other things. I was attracted to it. One time I thought wearing white was going to get me more spiritual. Wow. So thank you very much, and talk right. I'll be here for talk.